Imagine being a doctor that diagnose somebody that comes into the emergency room and all they give you is a stethoscope.
Yeah.
And you can see the guy's arm is sticking out of his like he's compound fracture, and you're like, you're not sure if they've got internal bleeding. You're not sure if they've got broken ribs and a collapsed lung, but all you've got is a stethoscope and a thermometer. And you can't, if I could just x-ray the guy, I could easily tell you what was wrong with him, right? But
what's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, a show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam, an Escape from Tarkov bad player.
And I'm Veritas, and I'm an Escape from Tarkov mad player.
Perfect. That's great.
Yeah, it was right off the dome piece.
That's so good. That's so good.
Dude, literally 2 days ago was like, I streamed for 14 hours and had nothing but fun.
Ooh.
The last 2 days has been 20 straight hours of the worst. Like,
it's stringing
my
you along.
main goal in life is I need to scam Elon Musk out of all of like his Bitcoin so that I can be a billionaire, just so I can buy Battlestate games and then go through like their database and try to brute force what the fuck is going on with these weird swings.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, it's keeping you like just strung along. This like the third or fourth week in a row where you were like, X day was just banger raids all day, and then boom, 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 it's been bad. Like every week you get like
leading up to the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Every week you get like one solid day of Tarkov, and yeah, that's funny. That's super funny. I mean, it's not funny. Yeah. It's bad. I like your plan of let's just make some NFTs, bro, and make some millions of dollars. And
did you watch that NFT video?
I watched The Line Goes Up, and it was very interesting.
Are you now like?
It was very interesting.
I don't necessarily need anybody to be like convinced it's a scam.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I see the parallels with the fucking housing bubble in 2008. And I was really close to that because even though I was a senior in high school, I had my real estate license and I helped process mortgages at a mortgage company. So I was really fucking close to, in 2007, 2008, to all of the shit that led up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a homeowner.
Yeah,
when I was 18,
no, I got what you're saying. Yeah, I loved that video. Like, yeah, I just like information and I like perspective, right? Like, I'm a nerd and I like progress, and so crypto and NFTs and all that kind of stuff, just like I like hearing about it, and I like, you know what I mean? I'm not a huge crypto holder, or I haven't minted any NFTs, but I feel like in my bubble I had heard mostly just like the positive and like this is really cool and this and I was like, cool, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Like that's everything I've heard about it seems really cool. And so I walked away from that video not necessarily like I'm going to be preaching the gospel that crypto and NFTs are the end of us all, but I walked away being like, I love that. I love that perspective. I love being just the complete opposite. You know what I mean? I was just like, wow, that felt really good to watch. And it
wasn't like it was a flat earth video.
Exactly.
It was just straight info dump.
Every single time he made like a major point, I was like, oh damn, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was like that makes sense, and there might be more around it that I'm not hearing or that he's not presenting. But like exactly, it wasn't like a flat earth thing where it was just like crypto and NFT, it's all like a conspiracy, man, to just make Jeff Bezos like. But just to walk through it, it was really, just to hear a perspective I hadn't heard was just really, it was a really good video too. And I feel like I could just listen to him talk all day. Like
I've been binging his channel.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. But yeah, we went to the barber today, and there's a couple of guys that work there that are like crypto NFT dudes. And of course there's just a bunch of like ignoramuses sitting in the seats getting their hair cut a few things over that were like true believers. Yeah. It's the fucking future of everything, dude. Decentralized.
Yeah.
Fuck the government, like whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's all well and good.
And I think that's the thing. Is like that's the heist of it all. Is that the layman, all the way down to us, you know what I mean, who maybe has, 0.000135 of a Bitcoin. The information that gets down to us is like, dude, decentralize it, man. But then when you hear like the less opinionated parts where he was just talking about this terrible thing happened to Ethereum and they had to fork it to roll it back. And you're just like...
And the only reason why they did it was because someone who really important with a lot of money and power convinced them to fork it.
Exactly.
And the whole process of forking it goes against the fundamental...
The process of forking it goes against fundamentally the decentralization. And the fact that one human being on planet Earth convinced them to fork it also in its very core goes against decentralization. So that's the kind of stuff where it's like, it's not really... That's not an opinion. If you tell me it's about nobody has power, nobody has ultimate control, and then we can just like look in the history books of your own cryptocurrency and see how one man got the entire thing to do one thing because it benefited a small amount of people, you just go, that's not really a conspiracy theory. It's not really a hot take. It's just like, damn, are the technical applications being applied the way that they are presented, the way that they're saying they're applying them, or are they being applied in a different way? Is it good bones and good roots, but ultimately spiraling down to what always happens, which is like the rich want to get richer and they want to do it off the backs of poor people. So it was just like really interesting.
What fascinated me the most, actually, the part that I enjoyed the most was about the NFT crypto bro culture, and how it honestly reads just like the rats and chads, the in community, the gaslighting, the out community of Tarkov on Reddit and on the forums and all this other shit that we see all over the place, where it's like anybody has any questions, any issues, fucking have fun being poor.
Exactly.
HFBP,
it's not gonna be all right, or whatever the acronym is. And like, we're not gonna make it. It's like we're all gonna make it, and then if you doubt it all, you're not gonna make it. It's so funny. Like, I definitely don't want to get deep on this in the podcast. I'd love to just like have coffee or a beer with you and talk about this stuff. But like, it's funny because like literally last night, me and my wife were in this like crazy deep discussion about, I won't talk about like the topic we were talking about because then Chad will go, but the concept of if anybody presents like a new frame of mind or a new perspective that I don't have, if I'm not allowed to say, I don't think so, but I'm not closed off to change, so can you prove your point to me? If that's an unacceptable response, you're in a cult. Or
I was just gonna say that you're a fucking
you're
cult.
in a cult. Because like that is the best response, right? If you tell me a completely new frame of mind and I go, you've got to be right, I'm cheap, right? It's like when if you run away with somebody who was cheating on their wife, like your relationship was based on cheating. Like, how do you think he's not going to cheat again? So if you come to me and say, forget everything you've ever learned and listen to me, and I go, I'm going to do that again the next time somebody says something. And if I'm completely closed off to any sort of change, well, then I've got a serious problem too. Yeah. So right there in the middle is the exact answer you want. I don't think so. I've been, raised to think this way, but I'm not completely closed off. So please prove your point to me. And so it was so funny because we weren't even talking about crypto. We weren't talking about any of that, but we were talking about, I was like, babe, like anybody that reacts negatively to that response, that's a big fat red flag. And then for like 27 minutes in this video, he was talking about the whole culture around that stuff. And exactly, if you're like, I don't understand it, or that seems like it's kind of built on nothing, they're just like, oh man, paper hands, you're not a hodler, have fun being poor. And it's like, that kind of tells me all I need to know, at least about the community. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And at the end of the day, like the biggest, and I'm sure I promise you, I am ignorant about a lot of things related to this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Not an expert. Like I'm not actually that interested in most of the shit that has to do with this stuff. So that's the reason why I'm largely ignorant, because I can't be fucking bothered.
Yeah.
Like someone has to come out with a video that's as entertaining and has any, is evidence based to convince me of the opposite.
Exactly.
And I'll sit through it and listen to it. But at the end of the day, you have to think about my barber was asking me, well, do you feel that way about art, or do you feel that way about like baseball cards or trading cards or whatever? And the thing is that while some people buy art because they want it as an investment, they think it might be appreciate. I've always bought those things because there's intrinsic value in having them, in using them, or enjoying them, right? Hanging on the wall as a part of my decor, or playing Magic cards and playing with them and having like the physical collection, or whatever, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The fact that the vast majority of the folks that are getting into this NFT space, they're not doing it because they feel there's intrinsic value in any of the things. They're doing it because of it's a combination of like hype, fear of missing out, just the whole FOMO thing. Or think about it this way. When you're not actually like buying a thing, what you're hoping, especially if you're buying it as an investment, you're hoping that the hype and everything will push the value up.
Yeah.
But why? Because ostensibly you want to sell it and make your money back. Well, but then what happens when you sell it? When it's something that is like literally a tradable investment, by definition, the price goes down. So really, everybody loses who gets in before the people want to sell it, right? So it's always I forget what he says. It's like the latest, what's the phrase? The latest dummy, or I forget.
There's something about a fool, the bigger fool. Like there's like you're always hoping there's a bigger fool at the other end.
Exactly. Like, and the question is, the people who are convincing you to get involved now, are you the guy who's getting in right after it starts, like the bubble burst? They'll do everything they can to convince you that we're still on the the uptick. And you know what? Maybe it'll go up and up and up and up forever. At some point, it's not gonna keep going up because the demand is entirely based on the hype. It's not based on the intrinsic value or interest of the thing.
Yeah.
So it's because it's entirely artificial. At some point, it has to. It's gonna burst.
And and my thing was always just like, the thing that I really took away from it is like how many promises the space of crypto and NFT make, and then like just really boldly ignore. Like when he talked about how the existence of MetaMask is like fundamentally against everything in every way. Like the whole point is like decentralized, no middleman. But now our system is so incredibly complex that you need MetaMask. You need this middle company to put like, you basically have like the absolute worst of what we have, because like when you think back to like the actual white papers of Bitcoin and all this stuff, it came out of the housing crisis and the whole like there is no bank, there is no middleman. It's like, at least what he poses, it's just a literally less regulated, more exploitable version of what we have. It's not the better version of what we have. It's, we made this thing and then we made this thing complex, and then the nature of humanity is that a lot of people try to take advantage of you. So now this middleman company steps in because they're less regulated. They actually have less privacy. What they're asking of you is more of your data and more secure things. And then it's like, wait, like, what was the point then?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that he basically says like the problem with all of this stuff is in human nature and behavior. It doesn't matter that you take a bunch of humans and you move them from one building to another building.
Bank, crypto.
It doesn't say bank on the thing. Yeah,
we're just exploitative beings, and that's just Yeah, we could do. We could talk about it forever. But I watched it, and it was just like, it was just everything I want out of a YouTube video. It was entertaining. It kept me engaged. I watched it on 1.5 times speed, but it kept me engaged for the 2 hours. I felt informed afterwards, and I didn't have to completely change my entire life thesis, but it just challenged what I thought and what the conventional things that I had heard, and it was just a great video.
Yeah, there's another channel that I recently started watching as well that you might enjoy. This is something that like won't necessarily be for everybody, and I can stand a certain kind of this thing, but the channel is called Some More News. Guy's got like 600,000 subscribers, and he's just a hot mess. If you look at all the thumbnails,
I've seen
you can
this
see
guy. I think I've seen like TikToks of him or something.
I mean, here's the thing: like the guy is, if you are on the right or more conservative, you're not gonna enjoy watching this guy's stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got some really really good videos. One of the ones I just watched that I really thoroughly enjoyed. Actually, two of them. One is, why is conservative comedy so ... not very good? And it's basically like, it's not that conservatives aren't funny.
Yeah.
And he goes back to like the blue collar TV, like how those guys are like fucking hilarious, even though they represent more of like the red South, whatever. But more along the lines of like when you look at like Colbert Report, that kind of thing, how obviously like he's not, he's more on the left.
Yeah.
And how the right is trying to do stuff like that, but it's never funny.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting video. And then another one is, did you ever watch Steven Crowder back in the day?
Oh yeah.
I used to watch him, and this was like in high school. I like watched him, and I feel like maybe I liked some of his stuff.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But he's since, in my opinion, and we're definitely like, this is the probably the first and last time I want to talk about politics. But yeah, the video is called Steven Crowder Just Needs a Friend, and fine, I guess I'll do it. And it's just an hour of talking about how he basically is a glorified cosplayer. Like he cosplays as the guy he wants to be, and he doesn't even realize it. It's really fucking good.
That's funny.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of politics on there that if you're into that kind of thing. I fucking hate politics, but
yeah,
I like making fun of stupid people. So
yes, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, most of us can agree on that.
But yeah, that's in other news, the Tarkov's completely and utterly broken fundamentally, and something. Yeah. So yesterday I ordered like dinner. I was so fucking, it was like 6 hours of just getting bent over, and I was like, I'm just gonna eat food. I'm like, someone give me a video to watch.
Oh, okay.
Like a controversial video to watch, something, whether or not it was like someone ranting about something or whatever. And I just wanted to eat and just sneer at some, hot Tarkov takes. And then someone's like, did you see Eroctic's video that he did? And I haven't watched one of his videos ever. That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what, I'll watch it because it was like, the title was like something along the lines of like, this is the most serious game breaking bug ever.
Yeah. So you're like,
exclamation point, 111, exclamation point, question mark. That kind of thing. You got to fast forward to like 19 minutes into the video before he actually like reveals what the fucking thing is. But basically what he was doing was using the double barrel shotgun and flechette.
Okay.
Now, he didn't test like any other things. So I think his conclusion was basically that like something having to do with either like BSG trying to nerf cheaters, like maybe flechette does so much damage that like the server rejects the damage or something like that. Like something
interesting.
Really fucking he got his information from one of the guys who works on like the single player hacked mod, whatever, who's an ex-cheater, an ex-cheat developer. It's amazing how those guys are always fucking wrong about everything that they say. even though they're the experts.
Yeah.
But he was basically going over and to like level 3, level 2 helmets with flechette and shooting people, and they just weren't dying. And I forget all the details, because then I was like, all right, I got to test this. I'm skeptical, and there was a bunch of issues. There was a bunch of issues with the tests that I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do my own fucking tests, and not have to rely on this video. And lo and behold, the first thing I did was blast somebody directly in the fucking face with flechette point blank, and I'm like, oh,
interesting.
And there was like 3 other. We went into a factory with like a 5-man basically, so we could do the testing, and everybody was like, "Wait, did you shoot?" And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, I just blasted him in the head, and they were like, "You didn't even shoot," and I'm like, "Oh," and then I reloaded, and they're like, "We don't see you reloading." So,
okay, finish. But I have experienced a separate bug that may be related based on, I think, how you're setting this up. So finish this, just later I have to.
Yeah, so we did, I don't know, maybe like a dozen or so tests, and a bunch of people from the community were so gracious enough to come in with like a level 3 helmet and like a PACA and whatever, and just let me blast them in the head. It was like 20% of the time they would instantly fucking die, and then 80% of the time I would shoot them point blank without a helmet. Nothing would happen. And then so that was the tell to me when they basically said you didn't fire.
Yep.
The conclusion that I don't remember what the video came like, what the final conclusion there was. But everybody was basically saying how the double barrel is bugged and or flechette is bugged.
Yeah.
Now I was able to do a bunch of testing, and I don't think it has anything to do with the double barrel, and I don't think it has anything to do with flechette. I think it has to do with the individual stacks of ammo.
Yeah, just loose ammo.
And inventory slots. Something having to do with... And it might not even be just ammo.
Yeah.
Maybe if you had other stacks of other things that you were... So one of the things I was doing was, to try to like see if I could replicate it, was I was taking the stacks of ammo and splitting them, like put one in each pocket, and then stacking them and moving them around and stacking them and splitting them, and then all of a sudden eventually you'd go and drag it into a slot and it would like rubber band back.
Yeah.
So, and it got to the point where I could glitch out most of the slots in my inventory, and any of these stacks of ammo, I think, that were in one of those glitched spots before it got glitched, the ammo was then glitched. So basically what would happen was, from the perspective of the server, when you hit R to reload, you would reload your gun, but that's basically saying, I don't know exactly what the protocol is, but it's effectively saying put, item 1, 2, 3 into slot number 7, and the server's like, it probably is just rejecting it with like a 40, not a 404, because it's not using a REST protocol, but like it's basically like invalid information. Like so your client sat there and reloaded. But the server was like, you didn't reload, so you don't. So when you pull the trigger and shoot, and they go, and the blood splatters and everything, because that's all client side, the server's like, you didn't shoot bullets because you didn't have bullets in your gun.
Dude.
But then once you get back to your inventory, all of those glitched out spots would have ammo in it.
Oh, when you like extracted and we're back in the inventory. Oh my God. Yeah. Interesting. Now you said you tested this with multiple shotguns too, right?
Yeah. So
further
I was able to
proving that it's not a double barrel thing.
Yeah. And I did a few tests that involved slugs, but again, just because I didn't work out the exact nuance as to how to reproduce it, because there were times where the flechette would kill people, and it would be totally one-to-one dependent on when I would reload, and I would be like, did you see me reload? If they say yes, they would die. If they say no, they wouldn't die.
Yeah.
It was definitely a like server client desynchronization. But then also the way that I was able to... And actually, I hadn't thought about this until now. but I knew when, oh man, now I'm just thinking about a whole bunch of other stuff. So you know how when like you can reload a shotgun, let's say you shoot a shotgun, and then I would have like a stack of ammo in my gamma when I would be out of ammo in my pockets, and I would click and drag the ammo and to drop it on the gun, and normally that would trigger a reload, even with your inventory up.
Yeah.
I would drag and drop it, and nothing would happen. I would double click the gun, drag the ammo into the slot, the chamber slot, and nothing would happen. And then I would like do a bunch of other shit, and if I like hit R, sometimes it would reload, sometimes it wouldn't reload, but then I would shoot the gun and the person would die, and then I would take the stack of ammo, drag it over to the gun, and he would reload it. So that is, I guess, if you actually like want, if you were in a raid and you're like, what the fuck, is my gun glitched out? If you shot some bullets and they didn't die, you could, I mean, you're probably gonna die to whoever you're fighting.
Yeah.
But like that would be a way of potentially testing out if you are in a glitch state, whether it's the gun or the ammo or what, by trying to click and drag it onto the gun. And if that doesn't work, to me, that indicates something's fucked up. And if you do manage to reload rounds, there's a good chance that even though you shot them directly in the face.
That's so interesting.
And the problem is that now this is the new, I've already saw it in
know what
chat.
you're gonna say.
The new boogeyman where I shot someone and they didn't die. So now everybody's going to ignore actual ballistics, ricochet chance. They're going to ignore height over bore. They're going to ignore that they actually shot someone in the arm. They're going to ignore that the bullet splatters are client side. So if you think you hit him in the head, but you didn't, like, there's a million reasons why the game isn't bugged. And you just didn't win that fight for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But now everybody's they can point to this one thing and say, well, that's the cause of all my fucking woes. So yeah.
That's very interesting though. That's very interesting. I don't know if this is in any way related on the back end, but just the concept of like the server and the client being out of sync. I experienced this, but it's almost like in half and half. I experienced 2 different times this wipe because I play duos all the time, you know. 2 different times this wipe, we spawned in and one of us was completely invisible to the other one. Completely. Like 2 different times. I was a scav and my teammate wasn't visible. And he was like, where are you? I couldn't hear his steps. I couldn't hear his shots. But he could damage me.
When was this again?
This was the first time this was like 2 weeks after the wipe.
Oh, okay.
And then it happened again like last week. I was playing with Desmond. So that first time it was on a scav and I couldn't see him. And I was like, yo, shoot me. And he blacked my leg. But I didn't hear the shot. I just got my leg blacked. And he was just like running around. And then it happened again on PMC with Desmond. We just spawned into a Lighthouse raid and he was like, oh, are you loading loot? And I was like, no, dude, let's go. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, dude, and he just like couldn't see me. And we did the same thing. I pulled my hatchet. I smacked him in the leg and he took damage, but he was like, I can't see you. I can't hear you. I can't hear anything you're doing. I can't hear your footsteps. And we just like, I died to some rogues. So we were going to try and find people in VoIP and be like, hey, which one of us can you see? You know what I mean? So I have no idea if that's in any way related to just like stuff glitching out upon entering a raid, you know what I mean, or what? But that was just something weird that I'd never seen.
Yeah, before. I mean that's another that's definitely another. I don't know if it's an incantation, an incarnation. It's another variation of the same like end result where your position, I guarantee, like you're in the raid, maybe your like coordinates on the server are like null or they're underground or you're across the map or something like that. I don't know, but you're still like a player technically in the raid. So when you do damage, the server's like, yeah, okay, you did damage. Like you're an entity, but you're just not where people see you.
And I just wonder if that was like to everybody or to just my teammate. You know what I mean? Like, was I just functionally invisible? Oh, but I died to rogues that raid. So they were I was the invisible one, and they were reacting to me at the water treatment plant.
Yeah, so maybe, I mean, it could have been that maybe Desmond was the one. You said you were playing with Desmond?
Yeah.
Maybe he was the one that was desynchronized.
Yeah, true.
Oh, but you could see him.
I could see him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
super
There's
weird.
a number of different... It's one of those things, like, if I understood more about the inner workings of the game, I would... These are the kinds of things that, dude, totally quick aside. When I was in software, you know, full time for the 10 years I was doing it, it gets to the point where if you're good and you're smart and you know the systems like in and out, you understand the architecture, somebody would come to me and they would say, hey, I experienced a thing where I did something and some weird thing happened. I would instantly know what the file name and what line of code the bug was most likely on, just from someone's half-assed description of the issue. And I mean, this was in it wasn't a first-person shooter, but this was in an extremely complicated piece of software that had to deal with a shit ton of multi-threaded events coming from connected smart robots, some over Bluetooth, some over Wi-Fi, while you're talking to another server, and you have an MQTT client that's talking to AWS and all this other shit. And all of these crazy things are happening asynchronously, all these events coming in, and you got to write information to robots and confirm all these things. And so conceptually, it's actually, there's a lot of similarities where connectivity, a lot of the same principles applies in the same way that they would in a game where you're sending information back and forth. You have to synchronize, you have to keep state up to date, and these are the kinds of things that happen all the time where you go to provision a robot so you can connect to it with your phone. So in order to do that, you need to give the robot your Wi-Fi SSID and password information so that it can then connect to the robot. It can connect to the Wi-Fi so that it can then talk to your server. So you have like the client, the robot, server, and all of the talk. And there would be times where you would provision the robot would connect to the Wi-Fi, but not connect to the server. So then in the app, if you would leave the house, normally you'd be able to, control the robot like a remote control, but it wouldn't be over your home Wi-Fi. So then suddenly it would stop working. And you'd get all kinds of crazy state information because the robot never sent its information to the server. There's just all this shit that dude, man, I just wish I knew these systems because I feel like I would be able to, and I mean, maybe I'm just talking out of my ass and I'm being totally overly confident, and that's entirely the case. I'll never know. But every system I've ever worked on like this, the more experience you get, the more you understand how it works, the more you understand the flaws, even if it's an imperfect system, the more you see some issue and you're like, I know exactly what that fucking problem is.
For sure. So, and I get it, right? Like being somebody who's worked in this industry and literally like you said, you've never worked on a game, but you've worked on software that like on some scale deals with very similar things and communications. I can see how like hard it is. I can understand how hard it is to not be able to peek behind the curtain. When you're like, I'm not saying I know how to fix it. I'm just like, I've been so close to something so similar for so much of my life. You just like want to, like, let me see. Like,
imagine being a doctor that diagnose somebody that comes into the emergency room and all they give you is a stethoscope.
Yeah.
And you can see the guy's arm is sticking out of his fucking, like he's compound fracture, and you're like, you're not sure if they've got internal bleeding. You're not sure if they've got broken ribs and a collapsed lung, but all you've got is a stethoscope and a thermometer. And you can't, if I could just x-ray the guy, I could easily tell you what fucking was wrong with him, right? But I just don't have access to anything that gives me any fucking information. It's so surface level, know, and it's so frustrating.
Yeah. I totally get that. On another note with bugs and stuff like that,
Oh, wait, so a quick final thing.
Yeah.
I passed all the information in testing. I did a big multi-page write-up on all of that, and I gave it to Nikita. It seemed like he didn't know. Like, it wasn't, he didn't give me the whole, like, yep, we're on it, we know. He was like, I need more information. I'll look into it. So, yeah, sorry.
No. That's good to know. Yeah, that we're not just on here complaining about stuff, but like we're doing everything we can, right? Like, you know what I mean? I've been mauling, and I've been DMing you a lot too about this loading loot thing, dude. It's been killing me. Like, and I finally fixed it. So I don't know. Like, I don't think it was exclusively an AMD thing, but in almost every single one of the forums, it was AMD CPUs that people were talking about. I found so many threads, so many people were saying the same thing. I mean, it was literally like, you know, I've done, 500 PMC raids and probably 250 scav raids this wipe. You multiply that times 3 to 5 additional minutes of waiting, and that's how much time I've just wasted this wipe.
Now you know how it felt when it would take me 8 minutes at the end of every single raid.
To get out of a raid. Yeah, no, seriously. And I was just like losing my mind. Like, it was happening every single raid. And I sent the screenshot to you. I literally couldn't explain to you what it is that I did to fix it. I found a forum post where some dude said, go into your command prompt as administrator and delete this thing. And I was like, at this point, sure. And I did, or set this to false instead of true. And it just instantly worked. And every raid since then has worked fine. So
wait, when did you send me that? I need to.
It was the other day. It was right when you were like, I'm taking a break. It was just yesterday. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what it is. Set,
use platform
clock to false. Boom.
Now I need to read to the fucking documentation about what that thing is.
Yep.
Because I wonder now if the clock got your system clock got out of sync. Maybe. I mean, that's just my first guess.
Maybe. No idea. But like, yeah, I don't know what the ramifications are. I don't know why the lasting things are. But like, I just did it, and it worked. Just boom, loading loot. The entire loading loot process takes 14 seconds now instead of 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna send this to Nikita. Oh wait, I'll wait until later. It's 7 p.m. and I sent him a message at one point, actually about this whole thing, and
yeah,
he seemed like maybe he was a little bit grumpy with me for maybe it was for like other reasons or whatever, but he was like, I asked him a question, he's like, I don't know, it's 11. It's like midnight on a Saturday, and I was like, sorry, my bad. So I kind of waited like a couple of days before I sent anything else to him, because I was like, oh fuck, like my bad, dude.
Yeah,
so it had to be the one thing that Jesse wanted me to ask. You son of a bitch. I see what you're doing.
But that's why I sent that to you, because I was so mad that I convinced you to send info to Nikita about it. And then I found a fix, and I was like, this fix might not be something I should be recommending to other people. So by sending the fix to Nikita or, and the crew, they might be able to be like, oh crap, there's a bug with, and then I don't have to recommend that other people go into their command prompt and start changing stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you know what the worst part is too? I could send this to him, and even though, like, if everybody were to say it fixed their problem, I'd be willing to bet you that I would send him this, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, we fixed it. It had nothing to do with that." Which engenders no confidence.
Yeah,
it just makes me think like they fixed, like if you've got a leaky pipe, they fixed like something else down the line, but there's still like a leaky pipe.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah,
and
that's exactly what happened with the whole thing after the raid, where it was like I was getting timeouts, and I'm pretty sure he had never told, like, he basically never agreed that all the shit I sent him was like related to the cause at all. So yeah, I
don't know. And that was the thing. It was like a bunch of other people fixed this bug with other things. Like a bunch of people were saying, like, randomly just like install Armory Crate and update everything, and it worked. But like everybody that had this fix it, what I did, they were all the people that were like, I have literally tried everything. Like, this is finally like so many posts where it's like, these are the things I've tried. And it's like reinstalling Windows, buying a new copy of Windows, upgrading to Windows 11, throwing my computer away and building a new one. I mean, it was like people like, I can't get rid of this thing. And all of those people, this seemed to fix it. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was more of like, I mauled it about it and then I found a fix. So here it is. I hope it helps in identifying whatever the issue is. The thing is, it's a relatively small subset of people. I mean, when you Google a problem, you always find the people who have the problem, but it's a relatively small subset of people that had it compared to the player base. So it's like not a big enough issue where like they're going to be 911 about it. And it's a vague and weird enough issue that like it felt like something that was just never going to get fixed. You know what I mean? So
interesting. So I just Googled. So there's what you effectively did was when you were doing that, you were disabling a setting on your computer that's called the high precision event timer, HPET.
Yeah.
I'm literally just reading an article like while listening to you. So like I'm sure I'm not getting any of it, but literally I Googled like what does disabling HPET do just to see if there was like a quick thing. And the first result is like how to improve gaming performance by disabling HPET. And it's like, here's a brief history. How does this setting affect gameplay? How to disable it? And it basically says disabling HPET. And again, I don't know if this is bullshit or not. Disabling, and this isn't Tarkov specific at all. This has nothing to do. This is just the first Google result. Removes micro stuttering and screen tearing that may occur during gameplay. It allows unrestricted I/O to occur. This results in a very raw and extremely responsive connection between you and your PC. What the fuck?
I don't know. What's crazy, what's interesting is that one of the most popular responses to this loading loot bug was go to device control on your PC, click on systems, and in the drop-down box is high performance event timer. Right click that and disable it. People like disable high precision event timer via this. And it didn't work for me. And it didn't work for a lot of other people. And then like I found this and this was the fix. And after I did it and it worked, I Googled it as well. And I found the same thing you sent where it's like, oh, disabling that just turns off high precision event timer. But I was like, I turned off high precision event timer, restarted my computer, confirmed that it was off and it was still there. So it was like, it does something deeper than that. Something deeper than just like an on-off toggle because I had turned it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was weird, man.
Now I'm trying to figure out if I have this thing on or not. I don't think so. If you see the command prompt as admin,
yeah,
you see user platform clock. I don't see anything that says user platform clocks. I mean, maybe I just don't have it on, and maybe like
once again, maybe it's like an AMD thing where it's on by default, or an Intel it's not, or I have no idea because it felt like more people with the issue had AMD.
Oh, are you AMD?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's your first mistake.
Dude, whatever.
Cue the fucking lethal time age debate over seriously. Intel versus AMD that I literally don't fucking care or have an opinion on. But
at
like,
this point,
Apple's better than Windows.
At this point, it's like buy what you can buy, right? Like if you find a CPU, buy it. It doesn't matter what color it is. Like
beggars can't be choosers. Huh. Okay. Well.
So I don't know. All I know is that my insanity is over, and I'm loading loot in 17 seconds now, and that makes me a happy boy.
Well, congratulations.
So that's good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's rare that you end up with fuck all for solutions to shit like that,
Yeah.
And I only had to live with my issue for like 6 months. You rat bastard.
Yeah, I was about to say.
For like a week.
No, 7 weeks. 6-7 weeks. All right. So, dude, we ran into each other for the first time in a long time in Tarkov. You've killed me before. Way back in the day, before the podcast, when I was just like some scrub in your channel, you killed me on Factory once. And I was just like, oh my God, Veritas coming. But I don't think we've run into each other since then. And dude, it was so funny. We were both trying to do Insomnia. We were both on Night Factory. I had been doing Insomnia just kind of more naturally in night raids, but then I had a daily to survive Factory 5 times. And I was like, well, I'll just do it at night and double down. And dude, it was so funny because I don't know what your perspective on that first raid was, but like, I am up.
Oh, I'll tell you.
I'm up on the like gate 3 side of the staircase, and somebody is planting his gunpowder, and he was like, dude, he was like, please don't kill me.
I'm doing the quest. Don't do it.
I'm doing the quest. I'll have my knife, bro. And he was like swinging his knife. I was like, plant your stuff, man. Plant your stuff. I got you. And then like I ran out to Skybridge. I thought I heard a scav, and I came back, and he was like, dude, I've been trying to plant this for so long. I was like, I got you. And then I heard a noise. I flicked up. I was purposely running like Alton P90 flashlight. I only heard you for like 1 second and saw you for a half a second. And I just flicked up and got a super lucky on my spray headshot, and you died. And it was so funny because I normally don't VoIP after I kill people, but I was letting this guy know that I was
heard it, which is the worst part.
I just killed the PMC.
So from my side of things, I spawned on the opposite side. You know, whatever that is, that gate 1.
Yeah, gate 0, gate 1, whatever the.
Yeah, one of the old locked door, not the new one with the expansion. So I spawned over there, instantly run to the opposite side of the office, but I was on the bottom floor, and I hear 2 people VoIPing, and I hear like, I'm trying to do my quest, and and I'm like, I got PMC kills, like, you know, because I actually think I had a couple of raids where it was like kind of dead, nobody there, and I'm like, so I'm just like, PMCs, please, you know. So I'm like, 2 people, I'm gonna come and fucking ruin ruin the party. And but my interpretation, it wasn't based on like sound cues so much as it was based on what I think I assumed was like the most common likely scenario, which was one guy in the breach room, one guy in factory office.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Even after I died, I still thought that there were 2 people in both, one person in each of those rooms. And then when I died to you at the edge of the hallway, I thought maybe you were a third party or fourth party. But so literally what I did, I ran up the stairs and I was like, gonna just fucking, because normally, like, at least historically, this wipe is a little bit different. But historically, you just end up with like a dude with a garage pistol and a flashlight and a backpack with 3 gunpowders, you know, and they just hope to run in and drop it there. But at this time, there was a lot more 3-man squads that had decent gear, and all 3 of them had 3 gunpowders in their bags after I killed them, which I felt actually not bad about at all now that I think about it. But so I just figured I could, you know, go in there and just fucking spray him down. I think I had like an AK or something, and I, you know, did my whole peek up the hallway, and honestly I was kind of lazy and didn't expect someone at the end of the hallway. I just expected people to be in the rooms because
you were here in the
VoIP, open the door, fall back a little bit, throw a grenade, or do whatever. And I just peeked the hallway, and you were just like, oh, I got it. And as I'm fading the black, I hear, I just killed a PMC. I'm like, fuck.
Dude, that was so funny. And I didn't know for a while because I was just like talking to this guy. I was like, dude, plant your last gunpowder, you know what I mean? And then you resubbed, and your message was, I just killed a PMC. And I was like, wait.
And your name in the kill feed, because you're an emissary or whatever?
Oh, it's Sherpa,
bright green. Oh yeah, Sherpa. Bright green, like I never get killed by folks that are emissaries or Sherpas. So it's really rare. So as soon as I saw that, I think because your name's like, I'm Pizza Man, right? Or something like that. If I probably would have just clicked through and thought nothing of it.
Yep.
But the fact that it was highlighted green, and I looked at it and I read it, and I was like, oh, that motherfucker. So I pulled up your stream on the other thing, and you hadn't even realized yet.
Nope.
You hadn't even looted me by the time I had pulled up your stream. Yeah, so that was funny. And then fast forward.
Dude, well, yeah, so I let the guy plant his stuff, and then I opened the door, and I was like, yeah, man. I said something. I was like, that quest sucks. It's hard to get done. And he goes, are you gonna kill me? And I shoot him in the head because you don't have to survive to get that quest done. So I was like, I let you get your quest done. You help me get my quest done, right? Like you don't have anything. He was naked. And then I went and looted you, and I died that raid. Some other like Chad pushed up, which was
came
weird.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, super late. You know what I mean? Normally everybody runs up there for that quest. And so I kind of let my guard down because
he wasn't a Chad. He was geared, but he was a pansy.
Well,
which is totally fine.
Yeah, maybe.
Totally fine. He won, right?
Like, I let my guard down. I thought it was a scav or something, or Tagilla, and then fast forward, we had switched because in my chat you were like, dude, what the hell, is the P90 good now? Like I could only see your flashlight, and
that was the other problem. I had NVGs.
Yes.
And you had a flashlight. So when I peeked the hallway, all I saw was blind, and then I'm dead.
Yes. Yes, and I had an Alton because I was like, no NVGs. I had an Alton. I had like a Gen 4 and a P90 with a flashlight. And I died, and then because it was like 45 minutes later before we ran into each other again. I ended up dying with the Alton that raid, and then I took out like another Chad kind of kit, and I died again. And I was like, screw this. So I went in with like no face shield, and I think I had the cheap NVGs. And then we ran into you, and you had a wrist T on. Jesus. And I hit you in the face so many times, bro.
That fight definitely lasted a lot longer. I think I was maybe either on the first floor or the second floor or something, and you were on the same exact side you were on before.
Yep.
We got in like an engagement. I took some damage. You got fucked up. Like your leg was broken.
Yep.
You had like 2 light bleeds.
Yep.
Your leg and your arm were like black, maybe even your stomach. So you were coughing. So you fell back out to where you plant the thing for delivery from the past.
Yep.
So you kind of went around that corner. Actually, what you did was you went around, did like out onto the balcony, but then dropped down.
Yeah,
that's what
down.
broke your leg.
Yep.
And at that time, I was just like reloading and like popping a Propofol or something. I think I was in the bathroom maybe.
Yeah.
And then I came out, was on the second floor of the stairwell, and you kind of fell back to right around the corner of the thing. And I just waited until I think maybe you reloaded.
It was something. Oh, this is what it was. You had a flashlight on, so I could tell you wanted to peek. And basically my play here was I'm hurt and I have an MP5. My play here is I gotta pre-fire this headshot. And I was like, yeah, he wants to peek. And I pre-fire as you peek, and you just peek, and I'm like, think, 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 think. And I was like, oh no. So I started the reload, and you were like, all right. And
no, so I think what happened was I went to go peek. Like you saw the flashlight, but then I didn't peek.
Oh,
so you were like
I pre-fired
into the wall, and then you were out of ammo.
Yep.
So then I pushed you and just like sprayed you down.
All I know is that when I went on your stream, your face shield was like messed up, and I was like, damn it. But that's what makes that junk so good, is that like on Night Factory, when normally people are running nods and either shotguns or MP5s, you can just push them. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing they can do. Like there was no, I was so mad because like it's always hindsight 2020. You were in a wrist T in a class 4 rig. And I had AP 6.3, and I was like, yo, hindsight, I should have just chested you. You know what I mean? I just like, but in the dark, I couldn't tell what helmet you were wearing. And I was like, I'm just always like, try and go for the headshot. And I was like, there was no way I was getting through that wrist T. You know what I mean?
Oh, now I'm curious. It's entirely possible that they would have, my intuition is telling me that they would have almost the same time to kill. Let me check though.
Oh no, maybe. I mean, maybe. I feel like it would take like nine shots.
You had AP bullets?
6.3. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna take like 9 shots to get the wrist T down. And then you had the MMAC rig. Either way, it was another super GG fight where I was just like, oh, like you pushed in, and I was reloading, and I was in a bad position, and you messed me up so bad on that first encounter that I was just like kind of YOLOing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you did what you did, like the only thing you could have done.
Yeah.
I just did the thing that I could have done, which is, try to take every advantage away, by like peeking without peeking and hoping that you burn something and wait. I could hear you coughing, so wait until you take more damage. I mean, I wait until you go to either heal
or reload
or whatever.
Yeah, the AP 6.3 against the wrist T face shield. After 4 shots, I still only have a 6% chance to pen. Like I need to hit you 7 or 8 times.
What's the name of the shield? I'm trying to find it.
The wrist T. Oh, the
is it just the wrist T face shield, or is it called something different?
RYS/T face shield or visor, I think.
There it is.
So I was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wonder though if.
So after 7 shots, I'm at a 90% chance to pen. And it's hard because I don't know if the MMAC is in here, the class 4, or maybe if it's like called something different.
I'll just grab like just another.
Because what's interesting about those class 4 rigs is that the durability is only like 55. Like a trooper's got a durability of 85. A TV-110 has a durability of 85, but those new ones only have a durability of like 45.
So after 4 shots, you've got a 2/3 chance to pen, but it would probably take, how much damage does AP do? Because then it would take
an additional shot, potentially 52 damage, so 2 shots to kill via thorax.
Yeah, so it's like especially with an MP5, it shoots pretty fast.
Yeah.
So basically all I'm saying is that like the difference between shooting head against class 5 and shooting chest against class 4, you might be talking 2 bullets.
Yeah.
Which,
and if you honestly, have a 900 RPM gun, you know what I mean? Just
yeah. So
don't
it's one
doubt.
Of those things
just
like,
execute your muscle memory. Don't really doubt it, because if you're in a good position, you're gonna put the extra shot or 2 on, and if not, you're most likely gonna die anyway. That's true.
Yeah, and not to mention too, you already fucked up my face shield.
Yeah.
So it wasn't full.
Yeah, it wasn't
durability.
Full durability.
You know, so. Oh yeah. Also, I had the Condor fucking glasses and
underneath.
And yeah, and then those took damage too. So I wonder if they like soaked up any blunt damage or whatever. But I went through, when I was doing this quest for like the 3 raids after that, I would heal my face, fix my face shield and the Condors every raid.
That's
I don't know. Again, I don't know if they're just
very interesting
or doing anything. But one of those bullets penned and was deflected, stopped by the Condor. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. It would be far more likely that it wouldn't pen the face shield, and the blunt throughput would then hit the layer underneath.
Yeah,
that's how it used to work when you could wear armor and armored rigs.
Stack, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
The blunt damage would still affect the underlying rigs.
That's
anyway,
so interesting.
But
bro,
yeah.
I got frustrated. I ended up hopping off Night Factory. Like in the past, Factory is always like, Chad Thunderdome, and Night Factory is like, yeah, you're gonna find guys with quad nods, but like I died to you, and then I died to shotguns. That was it. It's just like and
flashlights.
Yeah, 3 flashlights on the sput or spurt or whatever that thing is called, and just swinging corners with flechettes or Magnum Buck, just shooting as fast as they possibly can, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like, and if there's enough of them, like you know what I mean? Like you were saying, teams of 3 doing either insomnia or trying to plant their gunpowder. It's just like, that's why, like, I know when I watch you play Factory, like you just like know it and you love that map and you go for it. But like, I can't get behind. I don't know, man. It's just like, why in close combat, you're like, the percent chance of you Magnum bucking me in the leg with a shotgun on Factory is exponentially more than it is on Woods. You know what I mean? Because Factory is all close corners. So all I have to do is aim low and never sprint. And I have a decent chance of aim punching you to oblivion. And I only need to hit you 2 or 3. I only need to fire 2 or 3 shots. So after losing, after you killed me, I ended up bartering for a wrist T and one of the class 5 samurai armors that covers your arms and your stomach, because I was tired of getting, shotgunned in all those places. I had one good raid, and then I did the very next raid. It was just Magnum Buck from a naked guy. And it was like, why am I like that shotgun costs you 12,000 rubles and Magnum Buck costs 82 rubles. It's like, why am I bringing 700,000 rubles worth of gear? I don't feel like it's protecting me against anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just like hopped over to Day, and on Day Factory, it's literally just 4 people with pistols and Tagilla every raid. That's it. Like, so I don't know, man. It's just like, I talked to Desmond about this a lot. It's just like the shotguns are so like underrated by most of the community, but it's so hard because it's just like it's just uncounterable in close quarters. You know what I mean? Because it's so cheap. It's the new, Mosin. It's the new hatchet run. It's just like I have a thing that like it's a gun. Like if you've got a 153 with Magnum Buck, you're most likely aiming for the legs anyway. And so it's a gun where the time to kill does not increase based on what your opponent is wearing, right? Like Slick, Alton, it just doesn't matter. Just aim for the legs. 2 shots, boom, boom, done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not a leg meta guy because I can't hit the damn same leg enough times, especially with like, use effector with rip rounds. I'm like, how do you hit the same leg that many times? I don't like that. But when you're running factory, when you're that close and your whole kit costs you 14,000 rubles, it's just like, I don't want to, I don't want to play that. I don't want to risk that. Like,
and you know what the worst is if you're like, you're running from one end of the hallway and you want to go into like the safe room, right? And all of a sudden you hear someone about to peek and then it's just blinding flashlights and you have like your AK with BS ammo and you're like, bah, 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 and they're blasting you with buckshot and like breaking your arms and you just see blinding arms breaking, you're bleeding, you're limping. And it's like, and then you sit there and you're like reloading, trying to pop your meds. You can't see anything. And they can just walk up to you and just kablamo. And you're just sitting there like stuck in an animation, limping, like whatever. And all you can think about is how your Fort Alton is irrelevant.
Exactly. Completely irrelevant. And I'm not saying, like nerf the shotguns or make, Magnum Buck, like 1,200 rubles a round. That's like literally how we keep fixing problems. And that's not a real fix. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, I wouldn't mind a pass at looking at the damage output of those shotgun shells. You know what I mean? Like I want them to be, they need to be powerful. It's a shotgun. And then
historically, we've been begging for the shotguns to be viable. And now, the last couple wipes have been, first the KS was the first one that was ever viable.
Yeah.
And then, now they're better than viable.
More what I'm saying is that's why I don't play Factory. Because Factory feels like a fun map that's ruined by the meta, which is, the meta is like, if you're playing Factory, why risk gear? Why risk gear when 10,000 ruble do trick? You know what I mean? And so I'm not necessarily saying get rid of the shotguns, nerf the shotguns, nerf the ammo. It's just like, until we get open world and you're having to actually bring in a kit that you feel you can execute with everywhere, you know what I mean? Or until, you know what I mean? Like there's just no way. And once again, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's undeniably the best strategy for Factory. It does not matter what your opponent has, and it's rinse and repeatable because there's probably no limit on how many 153s you can buy from Jaeger, you know what I mean? And there's like 8 different shotgun shells that can all 3-tap you in the legs. So it's basically an unlimited supply of weapons and ammo for really cheap. You can also craft Magnum Buck, and it's a map that's just tiny corners. Like one peg put in the chat, and I agree, I get it. Counter, you have don't be so close. Yeah, on woods, on Factory, that's not an option. I'm not bringing a Valde on Factory. Like I have to plant the damn gunpowder, right? You know what I mean? Like you have to get close. So that's why it's like, I'm not saying nerf it. I'm not saying, oh my God, the game needs to change. I'm just saying like, that's what pushes me away from Factory, is because the map that, like you used to say, it was just like, it was pure skill. It was just like, I'm better than you because I know the map. I know the stuff. You know what I mean? I just like, I just feel like it's I don't know. It's the meta. It's just do that. Why risk anything else?
For me, I haven't died enough to Magnum Buck, I guess, to the legs. I'm not saying you're wrong, but
I just can't believe if you were doing Night Factory that you didn't die that way.
No, if anything, I would die to flechette center mass because people don't realize. Like people assume,
dude, flechette slaps.
People assume that because it's not a slug, that it's like buckshot, i.e., lots of damage, no pen.
Oh.
Every little needle has 31 pen.
Yeah,
and there's, you know what, like 8 of them, and they've got a shit ton of armor damage.
It's a perfect balance between the two. Instead of there being 16 pellets or 12 pellets or 1 slug, it's 8 fatty 31 pen lead balls going at your enemy. I think flechette's the perfect shotgun round. I use it all the time when I do setup in Silent Caliber. It's so good.
Yeah, now I think I don't know what the numbers would have to be, but you know, I wouldn't mind if flechette was like 28 pen or 27 pen or something like that. I think it might be a little OP. Now, when I die to somebody with AP rounds, to a chest shot or a headshot, at least it's like dying to a M61 or whatever.
Yeah,
like
they hit their shot.
You hit your shot.
Yeah.
You hit your shot because you have to be accurate. There are so many times where I have AP rounds and I'm whiffing because maybe I didn't put a dot on my, you know, shotgun or whatever. Whereas it just takes so much more skill to hit the right shots with AP than it does with flechette. Is like aim in the hemisphere and you're going to fuck them up regardless of what they're wearing.
And what's crazy, dude, like this feels like total confirmation bias. Like this feels like mauled logic. Like this, like what I'm about to say feels like like what people say when they're just mad and everything is, you know, they're just, but like, why the hell, when I have a rifle and I'm shooting, my recoil sends me to Jupiter. Why am I dying to the 7th shot of flechette and every single one of their shots? I feel like they're at the other end of factory and there's like, pop, 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 and there's no recoil. Like when I use a shotgun, like I'm shooting, like where's the recoil, dude? I don't know. I just feel like I die to those when people swing corners and they're just like spamming mouse 1 on their shotguns, but it's all hitting center of mass. Like I just don't get it. It feels like there's no recoil on those guns. I don't know.
Yeah. I only noticed that when they're using the Saiga, because the Saiga doesn't have a limit. You can click 20 clicks per second with the 155 and it's going to go bang, 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 bang. But with a Saiga, you can go brrr,
really?
You know, with 10 rounds.
I didn't know
or
it
whatever.
Didn't have a limit.
I mean, it might have a limit, but it's much, much, much faster than a 153. I mean,
153.
Yeah.
Because the 133 is the pump, and then the 155 is the Ultima. So 153.
Yeah, but the like whenever I'm in shotgun mode with like the 153, you can shoot pretty fucking quick. But I'm always surprised when I have the Saiga, a 10-round mag. It's like, oh shit! Like I guess I was clicking, expecting it to be much slower, and I just went to 10 rounds because it was so fast. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But I haven't used the Saiga in like a year. So
yeah. And so like I don't know. I don't know. Every time I complain or anybody complains about the shotgun, you know, what's the first thing people put in chat? Do you think they should add leg armor? Like, no, not really, because then not like level, 1 or level 2 leg armor completely nullifies, 50% of the shotgun rounds. You know what I mean? And
it'll just go back to people using Mosin and LPS,
or they would buff the pen of the buckshot. Like it's like that's a circle. The leg armor is just a complete, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying no, never. Maybe when there's freaking open world and like explosives, you can get one of the like full Hurt Locker suits, you know what I mean? And you want one guy on your team is really slow walking through streets of Tarkov. Like that would be
feel
cool.
Like when you're at 80 kilograms
exactly.
wearing a fort.
But I don't want there to just be like for 50,000 rubles level 3 leg armor from Ragman. Like I think that once again that nullifies it. It's just I want it to feel like it goes back to what we were talking about. If you've got a thing that bypasses everything I've gone through all the video game steps to accumulate. You know what I mean? I found my slick in the stash. I bartered for the RIS-T. I'm bringing out my good ammo. The economy's in at least a better state than it's been. So maybe it took me a few weeks and I'm feeling good. If you've got a thing in your hand that can bypass all of that, I'm not saying we should take that away. I'm saying I would at least want it to feel skill-based. And it just feels like it's just like aim low, click fast. You know what I mean? And it's just like boom, 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 dead, boom, 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 dead. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to just sound like a complainer, but like I played 5 Night Factories and I was like, I ran into you twice and all the other ones were like, this is not fun at all. Like I don't want to play this.
So here's the thing. Like this is one of the fundamental aspects of Tarkov that it's an inherent problem with their like vision, their goal.
Yeah, for sure.
In just the same way, for all of the reasons why I've been salty today. What happens is I'm on Lighthouse, right? I've been playing Lighthouse all day because I finally finished the quest where I have to kill the fucking rogues by the helicopter. Like, fuck you.
Geez. Yeah.
And every raid today was I'm running along and I go and, for whatever reason, I stop somewhere and I like kneel behind a fence and I'm regenning my step and I'm dead. I just got one tap in the head from someone on a hill somewhere, and it's like, or the raid right after that, I spawned in. You know how there's the bridge that is like leading right to where the rogue camp is?
100%.
It's like a short bridge. So, and then like right before that, there's like a blue fence with some porta potties, and I spawned like next to the porta potties. And I ran over to the left side. I was going to cross along like the water little wooden bridge and then try to make my way along the side. And I hear people running up behind me, 2 PMCs. And I'm like, oh shit, they don't see me. They run up to the bridge and they start getting shot at by, I think, a rogue or something. They stop and are like prone behind like not prone, standing behind like a bus. I think there's a bus there. I ran up behind them and I went plop, headshot, plop, headshot. Yeah, that was so sick. And I'm dead. Because I literally have a Valde and I like headshot, and I scan to the left and I just see a rogue with a mounted machine gun, like, haha, plop, and I'm dead. And it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, you spawn in, you have a plan, you begin to execute on that plan, something goes awry, you adjust your plan, execute on that, and something else. It's just like, in less than 30 seconds, how many times can the game expect you to just like, oh, well, you have to plan for that situation? It's like, I had 42 seconds in that raid. I had a plan, started winning on that plan, adjusted the plan, killed 2 PMCs. Like,
like what? So like, so people, I'm sure folks would say, well, like, what do you expect? You were standing out in the open. It's like, okay, there's no way I could have shot those guys if I wasn't.
Yes.
I had no angle on them that wasn't out in the open.
Yeah.
Everywhere is out in the open unless you're in a fucking closet, in a bedroom, in a garage.
Especially in a situation like that, where if you had tried to get away, if you had tried to scoop to a better position and one of the players sniped you, chat would have been like, you should have taken care of the players first.
You should have taken care of the known threat.
Yeah, and
or
it's like,
I try to flank around and then I get shot by somebody else who spawned over by the base of the mountain.
It goes back to the like cheesing the rogues thing. It's like they assume it's like, oh, you should have known that pixel is in the vision cone of the rogues, bro. And it's like the rogues are easy, and it just goes back to that logic of of people thinking that the game expecting you to know things that you shouldn't know is okay. It's like, oh, just get good by learning an arbitrary line in the sand where as a USEC you can stand here and not get shot from the rogues, but as a bear you can't stand there. And so if you were shooting those PMCs, you should have taken one step to the left. Like, it's like, no, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then like so I'm dying to that kind of shit. The raid before that, I ran over with the Marin key. As I'm unlocking the Marin key, bang, my fucking chest is basically like blacked out from a shot from a guy who's just sitting there staring at the Marin car from up on the mountain. And then I'm stuck in the animation. I don't even get to fucking open the trunk. I'm running, I'm zigzagging, I'm hitting bushes, I'm getting hit in the leg, I'm getting hit, and finally I, get to some like actual cover, because surprisingly there's like, if someone's up on the mountain, there's like no cover anywhere within like a reasonable distance, especially because you don't know where they are on the mountain. It's huge. So somewhere, if I prone behind the car, I might prone behind the car and then see he's on the left side and be like, oh, now I'm fucked. So instead you just have to zigzag, jump around. I went around, I healed everything. And then I was like, okay, by the time I turned around and was like looking up, I couldn't see anything. Couldn't see a silhouette. I'm still getting shot at. I know it's from the mountain somewhere.
Yeah.
I then get behind some rocks. I heal up. I reload. And I'm like, okay, cool. He stopped shooting at me. So I'm like, I bet you he saw me unlock the Marin and was like, jackpot. Like, he didn't open the trunk. So I'm going to make use. So I'm like creeping up along the side of the grass, like down the hill below the Marin car. And I'm going to like, if he wants to camp Marin, I'll fucking do the same when he comes. And then by the time I'm creeping, I peek up, the trunk's open and it's been looted. I was like, what the fuck? And then, so then after I take this time to be tactical and whatever, I see the trunk is looted. And so then I start running back towards like the bridge, towards where the rogues are. And I get killed by, I'm fairly certain, the same guy that was shooting at me before, but now he was 100 meters on the other side of me.
Yeah.
Had turned around, you know, because I'm just assuming because all of the hits I took were M62. It might have been two different people. M62 isn't the most.
Yeah.
It's an educated guess, and it was the same gun sound, the same bullet. But it's like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And I understand the response to that is, that's Tarkov. That's what makes it so good, is that it's unpredictable, and you know, and I agree. But that doesn't diminish the fact that I think it's both an asset to the design of the game, but also a fundamental flaw in the fact that no matter how good you are, no matter how many good decisions and how skilled you are, your success is so out of your hands.
Yeah.
But right after that, I'm getting completely fucked up by two players raining grenades down on me. And I was like sneaking up about to flank them. They were in a fight with the rogues. I'm like, I'm going to be tactical. Okay. And then fucking grenades are raining down on. They both are like swarming while I'm like healing, trying to fucking do everything. And I'm dying. And I kill both of them. Then I cross the road, have two other dudes, and their names were like, "You got wrecked, bro," and like, "I murked you, lol," or something like that. And those guys are not only talking shit over VoIP, but you know, I get in a fight and I kill those two guys. And in the meantime, while I'm sitting there trying to loot and trying to reload and dealing with broken arms, and I went through like 2 CMSs. Like my arm was at 3 HP. My right arm was at 3 HP. The two separate solo people came through. I kill them. I go to loot them, whatever. And then it's like I start to make my way towards Path to Shoreline. And at one point, you just have to like run across a bridge.
Yep.
And I get one tapped. And it's like,
dude, here's
and all I end up with is 2 dog tags in my
in your secure container. Yep.
And I spent 1 million rubles on the kit.
Yep. You spent 1 million rubles on the kit. You executed well enough to pull another 1 million rubles out. You know what I mean? And you ended with nothing. Here's the thing, though, is that like I'm sure there's like a smarter like term for this, but when someone's just enough right that you can't tell them you're wrong, but they're like not really right. You know what I mean? Like
not seeing the forest for the trees, or missing the point.
So like that whole concept of like you die there, you're frustrating, and they come in and go, Tarkov's supposed to be unpredictable, man. You never know. Yeah, sure, you're absolutely right. But
don't dismiss my fucking frustration.
But what Tarkov has currently is not unpredictability. It's the illusion of unpredictability. It's not unpredictable. When you spawn by the Marin key, 98% of all interactions are going to fall into a bucket of maybe 7 things. Somebody's going to run up the hill and they're going to snipe off of one of any bajillion angles on that hill. Somebody's going to move up to the chalet and check Marin. Someone from X spawn is going to push Marin. Someone from that, or none of those people are going to do that because they all have quests and you get to loot Marin. That's not like, you know what I mean? That's just pulling out like a die. A 6-sided die and rolling it and then saying the possibilities are endless. It's like
no, it's 1 through 6 actually.
Tarkov wants to be the possibilities are endless. Tarkov is so damn close to being the possibilities are endless, but it is not, bro. And if all the player can do with these spawns and the spawn system is play the game enough to make the most educated guesses, right? Like I've played 700 Lighthouse raids and 400 of them I've spawned here, and 300 of them this happened. So I'm gonna set up for this. You just got headshot by one of the other one of the other 5 dies came up, and because you were waiting for him, you got shot. You were only waiting for him because that was the most predictable thing. In a truly unpredictable world, you wouldn't be like, well, in approximately 37 seconds, somebody's going to be right there. You would just be aware of your surroundings. You'd check that, but you wouldn't want to check it too long because you know that there's a hill behind you. So I want to check that and I want to check this. Maybe I don't want to be on the road. That's unpredictability. Not like most of the time the guy goes there. And so like it's so much of it comes back to me to like the bull crap spawn system. And every time I talk about changing that, people are always like, but the loot. Dude, I don't care. I at this point I would sacrifice just about anything in this game for a better spawn system, for the cycle frontiers. You know what I think too? Oh, this might be a hot take and don't hold me to it. I know you won't, but and chat will, or the YouTube comments will, which is fine. What makes like DayZ so fun, right, is that like you can play for like 4 hours without seeing another player. Like, you know what I mean? If you're kitted up, like I truly, and you'll probably agree with me based on your most recent stories, I truly believe Tarkov would be better served with like a non-insignificant reduction in PvP encounters. Like I just think there should be
players
less
per server in half.
I think and to me, if you can fix the loot problem, the actual like gold nugget unicorn Willy Wonka golden ticket solution is the cycle frontier. We've got a server that lasts 4 hours. Instead of the max amount of players on Lighthouse being 17, we make it 10. It's not like a 50% reduction. We go like a 35% reduction of players, but players can spawn in at any moment. There's never going to be more than the 13 players. And that, if you can figure out the loot, that would be incredible because there'd be enough players that you'd find people more often than DayZ. There's still enough points of interest that if you desire the PvP, you could push for it. But the amount of times, one, it completely wrecks the predictability of, I know somebody spawned here. I know somebody's going to be here. All I got to do is wait. And you won't have those times where it's like you found a squad, you killed them. You found a squad, you killed them. A player scav came up, you killed him. A solo came up, you killed him. The first time you touch a body, because everybody on the map is just running to those things. You might have killed half the server. The other half of the server's on the other side of the map, and a new respawn timer isn't going to hit for 5 minutes. You might have all the time in the world to loot your stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just like...
The problem is that there's... The loot problem is right now, it's the smallest problem it's ever been. Because there's so much loot all over the place that has value. I mean, there might not be lead X's everywhere.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, if you spawned somebody, like, at the fucking pier building, in the pier building, one could be in the west wing, one could be, like...
Yeah.
Rather than have everybody be in one of 3 corners of the map and everybody starts running in, that's a shit experience to every raid. But you're absolutely right. There's so many things. Basically, it's only the high value loot stuff and locked rooms we need to address, right? Because like on a plywood box, you know, just having the bolts respawn every once in a while, or like whatever the loot pool is, right? This is like you know, machinery loot pool. It could be bolts this time, it could be toothpaste or the pox ram or whatever. That's fine. Like to me, it doesn't seem that hard to make it proximity based, where as long as there's no real life players within a certain distance, by reducing the number of PMCs on the map, you actually make that an easier thing, right? It doesn't seem hard to find a balance between proximity and time, that we don't want the loot to respawn every time there's nobody around. We want it to respawn like in this range of time, and as long as there's nobody nearby, it doesn't feel like it would be too hard to find that balance where the door just locks again. If the server is going to be 6 hours long or 4 hours long, you like what you don't want is you spawn in and there's 2 hours left and you're like, oh well, great, you know what I mean? Like none of the doors are going to be locked. I brought all my keys. You know, it's just like you might go to this house and maybe it's looted. You might go to this house and maybe it's not because that one was hit a longer time ago. It relocked. There's more loot. I don't know. Even without loot spawning, and I really wish I had made my video, a million years ago on how I envision the open world, but like there's no reason why I genuinely don't think, based on the design I have in my head and how everything's distributed and what players are going to be doing, that you would need to, because there's so many rooms, so many buildings, so many boxes, so many crates, that in 5 hours, if you have 20 players, I just don't think that everything is going to be looted instantly. I mean, think about it. If you have 20, 40, 30, I don't know what the number is, right? But like there's a number of players that you could put in essentially one server that was a single map, that would make it so that even if everybody went to completely different and unique, like they looted the most you could possibly loot, right? Like you go to customs, I'll go to shoreline, like whatever, and they just go from room to room to room to room to room, that 20% of the loot will be taken, and then 80% will just poof when it resets.
Yeah.
So in that case, I don't even think that they like need to do that. But again, I mean, that is predicated on the fact that the value of shit isn't like that shoreline. It's not 85% of the value is put in 3 locked rooms.
Exactly. Yes. And Lighthouse is a great step in the right direction there. Like you can make a ton of money without any keys on Lighthouse. You know what I mean? They did a better job. They did a good job at, like, Marin key is still one of the most sought after keys, but on a map where you need the keys the least. And I like that. I like that the keys are good, but they're not insanely good. But the map is good too. You know what I mean? Like, and I
unlocked Marin trunk 4 times, and there was 1 chainlet.
They definitely nerfed it. I still find good stuff in it, but they definitely nerfed it. And they're doing the same thing with Shoreline, where like 311 is an unlocked room that spawns lead X's, 216 is an unlocked room that spawns lead X's, and it's like, that's awesome. The thing is though, is that I'm so pissed about this current system that I want it now. I don't want it. I don't want to wait till open world. And that's why I'm like, yes, we need to figure out a loot generation thing. Because I just want the Lighthouse we have right now, the Shoreline we have right now, the customs we have right now, on a 6-hour timer with 35% less PMCs at any given time, and those PMCs can respawn. I feel like it would take, a couple of devs a weekend to figure out the timing on how frequently can people respawn, and how do we set that up in a way that's not manipulative, where it's just like I'm just like waiting at the spawn because I know at this minute mark someone's going to respawn. And how do we figure out the loot? Because, you know what I mean? If it's a 6-hour custom server, 5 people could loot up customs in 30 minutes and leave. You know what I mean? So, I just like, I acknowledge that I'm like nitpicking, you know what I mean? Like we've said before, it's like nothing else, like the game is pushing it in the right direction. And so these things that have always been around just feel more egregious. But like the spawn system, to me, it's like, it's the two-edged sword where it's like it ruins the experience of the game, and then people that don't understand that tell me, anything could happen, you should have been prepared. And I'm like, no, that's not what happened here. It's not the limitless potential of Tarkov that got me killed here. It was, I just picked the wrong die roll. You know what I mean? I'm just not a good gambler. That's what it is. So, and just like fundamentally, I think less PvP would be really. I think if they did a tweet and they said we're reducing the amount of PMCs on a map by 20 to 35%, the community would absolutely riot. I think if they made that change without telling anybody, people would start tweeting out that the game has never felt better. Like your wins would be wins more often. You know what I mean? A lot more people than you think. Like you watch the big guys, right? And they're going for kills. They want the like 9 PMC kill screenshot at the end. And I totally respect that. But most people, especially the newbies, you know what I mean? They want 1 or 2 PMC kills and they want to go, bro. You know what I mean? And especially with the weight system. I got 4,000 hours in this game. If I kill 2 PMCs, I'm leaving some of their stuff behind because I can't carry it out. I just want to go. I unlocked marked and I killed 2 PMCs. That's enough raid for me. And those wins would be wins more often. You know what I mean? Right now,
Yeah.
those wins are still only 35% of your survives because somebody else that heard the shots is only 7 steps away. And so I bet if they reduced the amount and didn't tell anybody, people would start just loving the game. They would just feel
there's so many dials that I can see they just need to tweak. Like they need to turn down some of the quest requirements that like require PMC kills. Otherwise, it's gonna take 500 years to do Shooter Born in Heaven when you can't find fucking anybody. But that's so
true.
There's a lot of things that they need to change to make the game, you know, where it has the potential. So when you're talking about like that frustration, I see it in a slightly different way, and then maybe this is a better way of envisioning my frustrations that I'm experiencing with all of these things that are out of my control or are unlucky and I don't get rewarded. Imagine a world where there was you know, weapon presets where the limits on trivial shit like Saluas and Pilgrim, not Pilgrim, what's the green backpack?
Oh, like the Berkut or the Scat backpack?
No, the next one up.
The beta? The Trizap?
No,
the pillbox?
The Trizap.
Okay.
The Trizap. You know, like the fact that I die a bunch of times and I just want to go buy a Trizap and it's like I hit the limit, it triggers me every time.
Yeah.
Or when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run AKs or earlier. Dude, I sold a bunch of Bitcoin because I ended up just going through all my money. I have 2 scav junk boxes full of shit that I just don't feel like wasting my time and going through and selling.
Yeah.
So I finally ended up running out of money. But I sold a bunch of shit and I had 1 million rubles. I literally built 3 like mid-tier SKS builds and I bought a couple of meds and I look up and I have like 11 rubles. It's like, because it was 180,000 rubles for the mods on top of the SKSs I spent 20,000 to build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I died, first of all, with those kits almost instantly, less than 60 seconds into all 3 raids, for one. And for 2, I went to go buy the 120 rounds of BP, which is 140,000 rubles. And I shot 1 bullet and now it's gone. And I have to wait 3 hours before I can okay, so just picture the game with, like the loadouts, the full loadout presets that I designed like fucking 2 years ago, plus a lot of the limits on shit that isn't like game-breaking meta, high tier, whatever. Like M80, and you know, either the personal limits were a little bit higher, or there weren't any limits, like on Swordens. Like, if I unlock the Swordens, just let me use Swordens every raid. Please. Just let me do it. I'm like, you know. So imagine those things. And then also imagine that you can get 150,000 rubles for a dog tag.
Oh, yeah.
Now, at least when I kill 3 PMC, if I 1v3, I've paid for the bare minimum, my gun and the ammo.
Yeah.
But instead, I can wipe the server like a god, die to a player scav or a rogue on the way out, and now all I do is just lose money.
Yep.
So what I would propose is balance the utter dog shit feeling of having no control over my destiny by making it so that I'm not digging myself deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. If I kill a bunch of dudes, maybe I don't even need a dog tag. Maybe every kill you get 50,000 or 75,000 rubles automatically sent to you. You know, maybe it's once a day. All the kills you got the day before, it's like, here's a bunch of money for the work you've done. Congratulations. Right? Like a constant quest kind of thing. Now, you need to make it so that you can't just farm your buddies. It should be fucking trivial if you use your brain and you design the feature right.
Yeah.
Just don't be an idiot.
Yep.
Because then at least I can go in, be good at the game, and I can be a god and get unlucky all day long like I have been, and make a little bit of profit.
Yeah. Dude, I remember we talked way back about like the dog tag barters and how insanely like they missed the mark on that. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, like more expensive than the constituent dog
yes,
tags.
more expensive than the dog tags, and just like the concept of those dog tag barters were like, it was like a carrot. It was like they were teasing us with a solution to the problem, which is that like these dog tags feel so worthless, but you don't want to increase the dog tags too much that it feels like they worth too much. Oh, well, these barters, and then they made it like 150 level 37 for an eye case, and it was just like all you had to do was make it that the dog tags had to be unique, right? Because then you can't farm factory with your friends. You can't just get your community to pick one server and farm factory. They just have to be unique. And if you're playing normal with a normal amount of servers selected, you know, you might run into the same guy once in every like 500 raids. You know what I mean? Like I literally have like 11 or 12 servers selected because I just pick everything under 100 ping. And like I run into the same people at the same time so rarely. You know what I mean? Like it's actually crazy. So I just make them unique and make it where you're friends. Exactly. Like it's super easy.
Or do they already have code where you can't like shooter born in heaven your people that you queued with, right?
Yeah.
So there's already like a function that is deny a player kill. Just apply the same logic to a new thing that is pay out a player 1 hour from now for the PMC kill they got.
Yeah.
Put that task on the queue to process whatever. Yeah. Or if it's something that you shouldn't, then like don't. They already have the code written.
Yeah, they already, it's crazy. And dude, it'd be kind of cool if there was like, what do you think about this idea? If every trader at every level had a barter for a certain amount of dog tags. So like at level 1 proper, you could get like, there's a barter and it's like, you give me 10 dog tags, I give you 100,000 rubles or, you know, whatever the number is. But from Skier, it might be a gun, and from Ragman, it might be an armor, and from Mechanic, it might be something else. And then at level 2, they all have just like an additional one. And instead of 10 dog tags, it's bring me 20 dog tags for something slightly better, kind of like with their profession. You know, you get up to level 4 Mechanic, and maybe you can hand in 30 dog tags for like mad euros, and you could PvP your way to solar farm. Instead of having to buy 75,000 euros, you could like PvP your way there and turn in the dog tags. And then it's like, you don't have to put in daily quests, but it's like, there's like all these barters for like different stuff. Like it would be cool for,
but you can't propose that.
It'd be cool for like level 1 therapists to have like 3 dog tags for a Salua, you know what I mean? Or something like that, or 2 dog tags for a 1 to 1, like, but
as soon as you propose that, what ends up happening is if you calculate the rubles per level, they would make it so that rather than it be 22,000 rubles to buy a Salua, it's you trade her 2 level 40 dog tags that is like triple the value of the fucking Salua, and you get a Salua, and you can only buy 1 per 3-hour reset, and fuck you, right?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool. I don't know. I at this point, we're just theory crafting, and I know some nerd in his basement is gonna be, you know, come at me in the YouTube comments, but like I'd be interested in trying out like a, you know how like Fallout, the currency is bottle caps. Like what if dog tags weren't a sellable thing? They were barter only, and it was incentive to like progress through your traders because like there's some dope barters for them at the higher level traders, you know what I mean? And then their value is strictly what you can get for them, and not this like dollar cost freaking equation on like, well, I killed a level 32, so he's like, I don't know, like I think it'd be cool if.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with
you.
For
the same reason that we wanted to change the fleet, because a slick wasn't a slick, it was money. And that's what dog tags are. Dog tags aren't dog tags. Dog tags aren't barters. They're just money. It's just, and so now it's like this simple thing of them adding a barter for a dog tag is actually an incredibly complicated thing, because now I've got 2 dog tag cases open, and I'm going, okay, I have 200 dog tags, but I want to use 150 for the eye case. So I want to make sure that the 150 are as close to the level requirement as possible, because if it's high enough, then it's not worth the thing. And it's like on their end, they're like, yes, we should add barter, but it's like, it's so
but they don't think about the how and the why.
Yeah.
And which again is the problem. Like your idea is great, but I don't think there's any way that you could explain it.
Yeah.
That they would actually grasp this. I mean, this all started with me wanting, like saying, this was before the RSAS was like
Oh yeah.
The like, godly thing that you would find once in a marked room, and you were like, oh my god, I don't have to spend a bajillion rubles on the thing so that I can do gunsmith. It was a gun that was middle of the pack in terms of performance, and we had a bunch of nostalgia because it used to be a lot of fun and less expensive when there was only like 7 guns in the game.
Yeah.
But now it's like nobody uses it. You never see. I don't think I've seen anybody with an RSAS in a raid. And so and it was my favorite gun. So what I proposed was, I took the level of the dog tags, the number of the dog tags. I did the math on it, and basically the equivalent was, make it so that the equivalent dog tags are like 60,000 rubles. So you're getting it for like half price or whatever.
Yeah.
And what Nikita did was, he was like, yeah, that sounds great. And he like doubled it, which ended up being more than if you just sold them for rubles, bought dollars, and then bought the RSAS.
And split it. So you need a certain amount of bear and a certain amount of USEC ones. So you might have like, I was saving up for that. I was saving up for that barter, got to a high enough level to complete Wet Job Part 6 and just buy the RSAS before I found enough bear dog tags. I'd been saving the dog tags for like 3 weeks, and then I was like, oh, I'll just buy it because I couldn't find a bear. Yeah. The dog tags have so much potential because it's the only item in the game that like isn't random, right? Like any of the barters, if they make a barter X for X, you might find X in a secret stash, right? You might find an evasion armband in a secret stash, or a slick in a secret stash, or whatever. But it's like a dog tag is acquirable one way, you know what I mean? And that's kill someone and loot them. So that barter should definitively be cheaper for the thing, because it's a requirement that I do a thing, right? I gotta go kill people for that thing.
So this might be, I don't know if this is like wishful thinking, but bear with me here. Imagine you're a hatchling, right? These days, I don't know why the fuck anybody's a hatchling. You're tagged and cursed, and
a double barrel is 8,000 rubles.
Yeah, and the value of like bolts found in raid is exponentially larger than So, but whatever. Imagine if a dog tag was just a straight 100,000 ruble payday, found in raid or not. Like, again, I'm just pulling this number out of my ass.
Yeah.
Well, then what you have is, if a hatchling ever comes across another hatchling, let's say he comes across a guy with a Makarov. The guy with the Makarov is infinitely more likely to kill the hatchling.
Yeah.
So then the next raid, the hatchling is going to think, well, maybe I should go in with a Makarov or wear a P.A.K.A. And then the next guy, the Makarov user without the P.A.K.A, dies to the guy with the P.A.K.A and is like, maybe I should use an SKS instead. And then, because when you kill them, you're getting a guaranteed 100,000 rubles.
Yeah.
So now killing someone is like way better than just running, avoiding whatever, and finding something in a backpack.
Yeah.
And then running out. So
I see what you're doing with your thought experiment is like, basically the question you're asking does doing that basically like raise the floor a little bit, where like more people want to PvP, more people want to take out a little bit of better stuff because they see the value in PvP and they see the value in surviving that PvP. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Nikita wants to have it both ways. Like back when I was arguing, this was back in the day when I was running around killing everybody all the time, and it was only hatchlings everywhere, and the game was kind of like dead.
Yeah.
This was maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I remember saying on one podcast, and Nikita basically defended against that, saying, well, this game isn't about going and killing everybody. It's about being tactical and being smart and surviving. Yeah. And then it's like, well, but he wants it both ways sometimes.
Yeah.
And I love Nikita, but it seems like sometimes he wants it both ways, because then it's like, I'm going to make it so that you have a quest to kill 30 bears.
Yeah.
But it's not about PvP. But then also I'm going to make it so that you're punished for avoiding PvP and just surviving by giving you a fucking run through.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you go through, do a quest, evade everybody, and get out, and it's like, nah, you didn't do the quest.
Yeah.
Fuck you, because you were in and out quick and tactical. So which one is it?
Yeah.
Like what he's rewarding and I hate to say it, but it's like what they're rewarding is like the kind of ratting where you spawn in, you run over in the corner of Big Red, and you hide in the dark while you play Game Boy and you check Instagram and you watch your favorite streamer until there's 15 minutes left in the raid. You go loot all the dead scavs, all the dead PMCs, go through a few backpacks. You've got a bunch of junk and you get out, and that person makes the most amount of money.
Yeah.
The most consistent amount of money.
For sure.
Or that you just rush the tech spawn and you get a GPU and you might die, you might not, but 1 out of 10 raids, you get a sick payday. And the other 9, you run in, you die, you run in, you die, you run in, you die, but you're not risking anything. And then someone like me who goes in and I can 1v, 4v, 3v, 2v1, and I'm the only one out of everybody there that lost money.
Yeah.
Because they all have their insurance that they all got back or whatever, or their buddies dropped their gear. And then player scavs will come in, clear everything up, grab everything. And even though I did all the work and I was the most tactical, most skilled guy in the raid, I'm purging money. And every clown that comes in the chat that says, dude, where's all your money? I've got a 0.07 KD, dude, and I've got 20 million rubles. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that, dude, you're absolutely right. And we are definitely in this weird middle ground where, once again, we talk about this all the time. What the game environment and like outside of Twitter, outside of YouTube, what the game tells me is exactly that. It's the tactical, it's the like, this is important, all of your gear matters and all that kind of stuff. But then what the game experience and what the gameplay tells me is a completely different thing. And we're in that middle ground where the game, exactly like PMC karma isn't, or sorry, not PMC karma, but like PvP isn't the only goal. But somebody actually said this in the chat earlier when we were talking about tuning down the amount of players in the raid. They were like, yeah, but like I get, and I'm not even mad. Like this wasn't a toxic comment, but he was like, I just get super frustrated right now when I go into a raid and I can't find anybody. And I'm like, yeah, that's because nothing else is fun. That doesn't mean we need to turn up PvP inherently. That is an option. You know what I mean? Like if fun is the goal.
It's because the AI is garbage.
Exactly. If fun is the goal and PvP is fun, nothing else is fun. It's not unreasonable to think if I want to have more fun, turn up the PvP. But I'm trying to peel it back to what Nikita talks about, what his vision for the game is. And I submit that the correct thing is tone down the PvP a little bit and make these other things fun, make them rewarding.
It's turning the dials in the right direction.
Make it rewarding to like, and you can do that. Once again, it's easier said than done. But if you do a little bit of mixture, a little bit of dial tuning, where maybe you make the dog tags more money so that PvP is incentivized for those that want it, but you turn down maybe the amount of players in raid a little bit, and then you turn up,
the number of scavs.
The number of scavs.
Make them not broken.
You turn up the number of scavs. Maybe you turn up the type of loot scavs can spawn with. So now, if you want PvP, you're incentivized to do that because you can make money. If you don't want PvP, there's like fun other game loops because you can make money. If you just want to be a looter, that's fine too. You don't necessarily have to worry about run-throughs in my version of the game because you go through, you loot, you don't shoot anything, and you can make money. And it's just like there's a universe where it's all fun. And if you don't find any PMCs, maybe that's what you went in the raid for, but you go, well, I'm in here, let me just go check this. You kill Scav Boss, he's got a cool thing. You're like, oh, I want a PvP, that was a fun raid. But nothing else is fun. And so we just measure the whole game by PvP.
And then you have a whole day of unlucky raids or cheaters or whatever. And then the out of raid experience isn't utter dog shit, whether it's traders, whether it's flea market, whether it's building presets, all of that stuff. And you have a game that doesn't feel like you're getting fucking completely bent over, unlubricated the whole time you're playing it.
Yeah.
Dude, but again, imagine half as many players, twice as many AI scavs that are 10% as good as they are now. You're sitting there like horde mode fucking Gears of War where there's just scavs coming at you. They're stormtroopers and you're killing them all and they've got junk on them. So whatever, but at least it's fun. And then if you want PvP, there's fucking essentially alarms going off all over the map where people are cornered by stormtroopers, but at least they're gunning them down. So you always have to I just killed 10 scavs. I think I cleared it out. Now I'm healing, but somebody's going to come because they just rang the dinner bell.
Yeah.
So then you have a better experience. And then if they kill you, maybe you were able to kill a PMC or whatever. So then at least you were able to pay for your insurance, right? Like now when I get mid-tier gear and I go to insure it, it's 140,000 rubles to insure Swordens, gun,
like a class
level 4 armor.
Yeah.
It's 150,000 rubles. It was 300,000 rubles to build the gun and 150,000 rubles. So it's 1,000,000 rubles to take in a mid-tier kit.
Yep.
I can kill 10 guys and I get what's a couple of level 30 dog tags. I get what, like 22,000, 30,000 rubles out of it. Maybe. It doesn't even cover the Salua I didn't get to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then not to mention, I want to get back into the raid and I can't because now I gotta build a completely unique kit because I've gone through all my BP. I've bought all of the tri-zips. I bought all the Saluas, all the Swordens. Like, it's just this is what makes me so frustrated and why I'm just bitching and moaning the whole fucking time I'm playing, because it's like there's so many fucking things they could do that are so easy.
Yeah.
They don't need to do anything new.
Yeah, exactly.
To make the game not feel so fucking bad.
Exactly. With the tools they have. And an AI, the AI is a great example of that, because like you and me have been harping on that so much that like you and that we've talked at length about like the benefit of like rewriting it from the ground up, right? Because like we talk about those GDC talks and all that stuff. But at the same time, we both agree that the best solution right now is just to increase the amount of scavs and turn their difficulty down. Like, even though we have had discussed at length that the better solution is, rewrite it, with some more, forethought, it's like there are so many tools. There are so many things that they could do with the tools they have right now, with the dials they have right now to make the game feel better and feel closer to the experience, even if it feels like it's farther away from the experience, even if it feels like turning down the scav's accuracy, that feels like it's less of a hardcore game. But you might enjoy the game more and be able to like run into more PMCs or player scavs, and then it feels more fun and more hardcore. And so I completely agree with the tools that they have right now. We're not saying engineer anything from the ground up. There's a lot they could do.
But the problem is that in order for them to even start beginning to do that, they have to agree with our like grievances and our frustrations. Yes. And not even agree. They have to understand them.
Yeah.
And then agree with the problem and then agree with the solution. And I don't think those three things I don't think ever happen.
Well, and especially when the community at large places the impetus of like puts it on something else, right? Like when
it's your fault you die 27 raids in a row because I choose one server and do night raids and avoid all combat and I make tons of money. Or so you play the game in a way that Nikita doesn't want you to just avoid all challenges.
Or even a less aggressive version of that, and much more like innocent, is exactly what the guy said about if I don't find anybody, the game's not fun. So we should turn up PvP. I can understand how you got there. And if that's what the community at large is saying, when we say, yo, have you ever thought about like turning down PvP? Nikita goes, what? You know what I mean? That sounds crazy. Everybody complains that the PvP is not rewarding enough. And so it's hard when so many people are justifiably or unjustifiably on the wrong footing. And so when they provide their feedback, it seems so much different than our feedback. So our feedback seems out of control, out of this world. But like, I at least genuinely feel like it would provide a more quintessential Tarkov experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then not only, there's two pieces of it. There's what you just said, that's half of it. And the other half is Nikita's like, I don't want to make dog tags 100,000 rubles. Because someone's going to exploit it and then they're going to ruin the economy and flood the game with items and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so you would rather have, like, he's not, I don't think he's considering, like, the alternative.
Yeah.
Just like the rogues being so hard punishes literally everybody except the 3% of the player base that knows exactly how to cheese them.
And those are the ones he's worried about flooding the economy with bad items. It's like they're already doing that because they know how to cheese your stupid stuff. The only ones it's really hurting are everybody else that wants to play the game the way you want them to play the game.
Yeah, so God, it just seems like an impossible fucking battle, man. Like I just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see a little bit of this. Well, when I did my interview with Nikita, I explicitly cut out basically all of me asking the questions.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it was last minute and it was unscripted, so sometimes I kind of ramble a little bit, and I was a little bit self-conscious about like my questions not being so great. And part of that is part of what happened was that my questions weren't as succinct as I wanted them to be, because a lot of times what I have to do is paint a picture for him and then ask a question, because I honestly don't think he understands. I'm a player that wants to play tactically and wants to be smart, and I go through and spend all of this money and I build a kit and I do whatever and I buy out all of the limits of all the stuff, and I'm gonna buy the high pen ammo because I want to maximize my chances of doing whatever, and then I go and I sneak with my night vision goggles on and I peek from the mountain and I'm dead. So do you want me to feel like excited about using all this cool tactical shit?
Yeah.
Then don't make it so that it instantly just, goes. So with that all in mind, it's not the most succinct thing ever, right? But there are so many times where I'm like, explain this, or have you thought about this? And I don't know that it's like I don't think it's like a language barrier thing. I think it is more like maybe he assumes what I'm asking, maybe based on certain things he hears all the time on Reddit or on the forums or whatever. And he kind of misses the question enough to where it's like, it's almost like I feel like I didn't even ask the question. Yeah. Similar to like the whole zeroing thing where I asked the question and nobody fucking understood.
Yeah.
All too often I feel like that kind of thing happens where I can't ever propose some of these things that make sense, because we just sat here and talked for an hour about it to flesh out this idea to really make our case.
Yep.
Try to sum that up in a 11-second.
Yeah, dude.
You get one chance to ask him a question on a podcast.
100%. That's the thing. Like people absolutely dump on the podcast and the Nikita's on. People are always like, the streamers ask the same questions. They never do this. I would ask him this. And it's like, you don't understand what it's like to be on a call with him, know that this is your one shot, and like exactly how do you ask some of these questions? How do you shrink all of this information down, ask a question, and expect a response when he literally just answers questions all day long to people? It's like, it's hard. Yeah, he doesn't have an hour and a half to sit here and listen to us talk about the spawns. You know what I mean? He's like, the game works. I'm trying to finish it. You know what I mean? Stop. So I get it. You know what I mean? But it's like, it is hard to communicate.
And then that's why I ask the questions I ask around, you tell me what you want the average drunken scavenger to be like. And he basically said incompetent, cowardly, shitty, hobo lunatics. Yeah. It's like, okay.
They're Olympians right now.
So with that in mind, they're so utterly fucking broken and busted. And it's like, the problem is that when he responds with, yeah, I know, and we're working on it. Okay, well, now what? Now what do I say? Because it's like a reasonable answer. But it's like, yeah, but it's been like this for so long.
Yeah.
So oh, man, the same thing is with the quick sell feature. So they recently tweeted out, like, I think it was Tobias.
Yeah.
He was like, what's on your mind? And I'm like, this is my chance to bring this thing up and try to get like a huge win. Yeah. Because I'm convinced that in about 2 working days of work, one engineer could implement my thing that I designed 2 years ago that would save hundreds of thousands of people hours of annoying bullshit.
Yep. Yep.
That's I think single-handedly my like quick sell feature single-handedly would be the most bang for your buck
100%.
change to the game. And I just when I mention that, I think Nikita's like, yeah, you want some like thing that he looks at it as it's a different way of displaying functionality that's already in the game. You just want something that's a little bit more convenient and easy to use. There's so many more things we have to deal with. When it's like, I feel like I need to say, in order for him to hear me, like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Like the amount of man hours that this one feature could save.
Yep.
Some kid could use that to cure cancer. Like, you don't realize how much time is wasted on this one little thing and how significant something like that could change the experience, right?
Yep.
If I get fucked for 10 hours, I don't then have to waste the rest of my fucking time right-clicking, doing filter by item, looking at the price, pulling up the wiki, figuring out if I need it for a craft, figuring out if I need for a thing, then going and seeing if Therapist will give it to me, and then I have to go back and see what the fee is for the thing, if I want to sell it.
You know, dude, you know how many times I have heard and have even experienced where it's like, I've heard people like, I don't sell anything on the fleet, I just can't be bothered. And I do that too. When I'm on a roll, when I'm playing with somebody, it's just like, I'm just going to vendor it all, whatever. Because exactly that. When it's not, I right-click, filter by item, 43,000 rubles, back out. What does Therapist give it to me? Oh, 32,000 rubles. That's decent enough. Go back, right-click, filter by item, add item, click the thing. Oh, wait, do I have more than one? Click, use more than one. And it's just like that a million times is a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean, and when I did my video on this, I counted like, I want to say like 200 clicks to get geared out for a raid that I had almost everything in my inventory already.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, and I wasn't even counting like double clicks as double clicks. You just have to go click, escape, trade, go to Prapor, buy the things you need, attach them to the gun, go to the flea market, buy a certain other things, go to Therapist, buy your meds, equip all the things, make sure you have everything bound. It's so much, not to mention, another thing I recently proposed to him was a bulk purchase feature. If you let me just go and click on a thing and say like add it to a cart, even if one shared cart for all of the traders, allow me to click a whole bunch of stuff and then click buy all at once. Not only would it give us interesting information about like what our kit costs, so that we can make more informed decisions about risk reward, because now it's so obtuse and obfuscated, you need a fucking Excel doc on your laptop in order to figure out like how much am I actually spending.
Oh yeah.
Which, but not only that, but it would cut down the number of purchase requests to the server by an order of magnitude. Rather than buy 100 things every raid, I would buy one transaction. That is not an insignificant load taken off of the server.
That's
Nikita,
so true.
And I sent them the JSON for the structure of what it would look like, just to try to make it a little bit easier to get a little bit closer to like, is this compelling, right? Like, and it would take somebody one day to implement that, to make a new API endpoint, write some unit tests for it, and maybe put it on ETS for a week or something. But again, it's like, it's something that slightly increases the experience. You would need one like UI box, with some other thing that you could then hit cancel for or whatever, and one new API endpoint that are trivial to do. And don't tell me that they're not. Like, don't tell me it's much more complicated than that, because I fucking did it for a decade.
Yeah.
And it would cut down on performance. It would have made like something like that done a couple more times with a couple more features is something that could have entirely negated almost not like the DDoS attacks, but all of the shit getting flooded by a million users and having it completely take down their fucking system.
Yep.
By just making shit more efficient.
Yeah, that's insane. That'd be a lot. Also, how hard is it, like how hard from like a development standpoint would it be to let me vendor things in a case? Because like that's exactly like when you have a scav junk box worth of stuff and you literally have to open the sorting table, put it in the sorting table, and then move every single thing inside of it into your stash before you can sell it. And you're just control clicking it all, so it's not really organized. So then you have to go through it all. It's like, and the dog tags, like the dog tag case exists to hold 100 dog tags. When it's full, I want to sell my 100 dog tags. That means I need 100 open cells in my inventory. And I have to do that by moving the dog tag case to my person and then right click control. Oh, this is super fun. Open therapist. You got to freaking click it all. It's just like, let me just go to therapist, open this up and sell it. Just sell all for cases, dragging stuff in. Like, you know how many hundreds of thousands of man hours are spent just moving something from a case to my person, from a person to my thing, then going to the trader, clicking the sell, then from the trader to the thing.
Yeah. And someone in chat was saying that you can do that. You just go to the thing and open up, like right click and click open. Except I just did that right now and nothing is. It says the trader cannot buy this item. The trader cannot buy this item. The trader cannot buy this item.
Mad weird how many people have told me that you can sell from cases. And it's like, show me the damn receipts. It just doesn't work. Like
it's almost like people are either fucking lying or they don't know what they're talking about.
Like exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like a conspiracy theory. Like,
dude, it's almost like I
can do it. I can show you right now. It's not working. Like you're lying to me. Like this isn't a mistake. Like I don't know. This is the part of the reason why, you know, I have a reputation. Now I have a reputation because I'm always salty. And it's because so many people just look you straight in the eyes and tell you 2 + 2 = 17 all fucking day long. And it's like, okay, well, like, just give me a screenshot of your math. Show the work. You know, people tell me that, you know, they have this bug with this thing, or you can't fix your face shield unless you do a fucking rain dance and you say 27 Hail Mary. It's like, just this is, I can't, dude, it's insane. Yeah. It makes you feel like you're going fucking crazy, like you're in the goddamn Twilight Zone. And this is what I deal with literally all day long. Yeah.
All of your frustrations, none of it's real, none of it's legit. And I'm sure you're getting there.
Oh,
all of your frustrations, none of it's legit. All of the things that you research and that you teach to your community in your videos, Jesse, it's all bullshit. Trust me, I know. I have 2 messages in this chat and I'm not following you. Trust me, I know. You don't know what you're talking about. And also, I'm not actually going to prove any of the shit. And then when you're like, I challenge you to do this one thing, prove me wrong, you never see them again. They never write in chat ever again.
They're just like, oh my God. Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also expected to take every single person seriously, even if it's their first message in chat and they say some dumb shit. You can't dismiss them like they're a troll because they might be well-meaning 1 out of 100 times.
Yep. Yeah, so apparently you can do it from the flea market.
Yeah, but you can't do it from traders.
No,
so cool.
And that's the thing. No, but that's what I was going to say, is you can do it from the flea market. And this is the other side of that, like, frustration loop, is like people come in and propose a solution before qualifying the problem. Like, I'm not trying to get on anybody in chat right now, but it's just like, you got to understand how many thousands of times this happens to us, that it's like, you may mean well, but if it's the 900th time we're talking about something, and instead of saying like, what are we talking about? It's like, oh, you can do that. And I'm like, all right, let me try. And then I do it and I'm like, no, see, it doesn't work. And they're like, no, on the flea. And it's like, but the conversation literally started of, Veritas, how hard would it be to allow me to vendor something from my cases?
Hey, Jesse, I just got here.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
I just got here. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about vendoring? Yeah, you can vendor it from your cases. And it's after you've already just had this back and forth and you just went through all this annoying bullshit, and then someone just shows up and is going to then now tell you information they think is novel to you when you just fucking explained how it wasn't the thing. It's an infinite fucking circle
loop. And so it's like, yeah, okay, cool.
Hey, man, this is what you signed up for.
You can do it.
You can. Shut up, Jesse. Shut the fuck up. This is what you signed up for as a content creator. Constantly being gaslit and told you're wrong about shit by people who are wrong objectively all day long, and you can't complain about it.
I signed the contract.
Fuck you.
You're right. It's in the Twitch partner agreement that chat will berate you.
It's in the OBS terms of service. When you hit start streaming, Have you seen 50 Shades of Grey? Because I just watched it for the first time 2 days ago.
I haven't. No.
Okay, well, it's a dog shit movie. Don't watch it.
Anyway, it's like, yeah. Oh, the other one was like the whole like, just in this vein, in this diatribe of nothing we can do is right. I wanted to tweet this the other day, bro. Okay, so I made a video on the P90, right? And it was like, the P90's insane. You know what I mean? Like, that's the name of the thing. 14 seconds into the video, I'm like, P90's really good. This wipe, it's really cool. I definitely wouldn't call this a budget gun, but it just like is really, really good performance for the money that you spend. Okay, I get 46 comments like, bro, this gun's like 100,000 rubles. It's not budget. And directly below all of them are, oh my God, the streamers keep telling everybody about my budget guns. Like, rip my favorite budget gun. And I'm just like, you guys figure this out. You guys figure out if it's a budget gun or not. Because I said in the video, I do not call this a budget gun. And it's just like, I can't. It's comical. Like, it's frustrating. And it actually, like, no matter how much, somebody says, don't take it personal, it's frustrating. But at the same time, it's like, you are all so dumb. Just watch the video, please.
This is
or not.
This is the online content creator theory of evolution. Like Darwin's Veritas wins theory. You know what? This environment, it completely forces everybody to just make meme highlight videos. Because it's not controversial. Yeah, you're not telling anybody to do anything. You get 1 million views. You make so much money. You don't have to read any comments or give a fuck about anybody or anything. You just have to be a brain dead memester, and you're rewarded for it.
Bro.
It's so fucking frustrating how I can spend 2 months on a video, make $11, and have everybody tell me I'm wrong. And you're seeing it now.
You have
more and more.
No idea. Like, what reaction that just got out of me, because I was literally pacing around my office today being like, I need to just do more highlight because I spent 4 days working on a shoreline PvP guide where I tried to do tips and tricks.
Don't teach anybody
just
things.
Like, like I tried to do like tips and tricks, like general, like close quarter combat guides, right side peaks, be aware of this, be aware of that. And then the second half of the video was me actually in Map Genie, like, okay, the East Wing and the West Wing play different. And if you really want to get good at PvP, you actually have to understand that these things are different and hear this. And then I went in and took a 10 gig file of me running around Shoreline. So there's B-roll over the map and do that. And you post it and you get the, and then you wait a while and you check the YouTube thing and it's 10 out of 10. Your worst video of your last 10 videos. It took me, a factor of 10 times longer to just, instead of just sending my clips to my brother and having him edit me a meme video. And you're like,
yeah,
well, you know what I mean? Like, it's, so when you said that, it's just fine. Cause I literally was like thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah, and someone in chat said something about evidence on memesters being brain dead. I'm not saying they are brain dead.
No.
I'm saying the content is brain dead. Maybe that might not be the best word, but
yeah, it's not even a bad thing.
It involves no criticism, not criticism. It involves no critical thinking. It involves no preparation, education. You're it's pure entertainment, and that's totally fine.
That's totally fine.
But it's just easy, and I hate that the easy, low effort, low tier shit is what's the most rewarded. Yeah. And those people that make that content, again, maybe I sound bitter. It's more about the community and the internet and the algorithms than it is about the people. I've got nothing but love for all of those. For some reason, my fucking stream is like dying right now, but our conversation is perfectly fine.
I can still hear you. Yeah.
I don't know. My bit rate's 100.
Oh God.
So sweet. I'm just gonna ignore chat because it's fucking distracting as hell.
Just catch it on the YouTube.
Yeah. But
dude,
yeah, like it's nothing against those people. They're they're either doing it because it's super fun or because there's no reason to. Why step out of your comfort zone, open yourself up to criticism, and have to have any points that you have to defend or anything like that when you can just not.
Yeah, I will be with you on this. Like, we are in no way saying that type of content is bad for the game, bad for the community, or you're a lesser content creator. You know what I mean? Z-Chum's highlight videos are my actually favorite YouTube content about Escape from Tarkov. If I edited 1,000 highlight videos in Premiere Pro, not one of them would be as good as his. They're insanely good. It's not saying that, but it's just exactly. It's like the whole algorithm kind of forces you into that. And it's not that I think what you're saying is that you just wish that there was room for both to succeed equally. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it just feels like the algorithm rewards the turn your brain off, just be entertained, more than it values the, like, let me educate you on this thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, we don't want to tear one down to make room for us. There's 600,000 billion, trillion, quadrillion minutes of YouTube watched per second. Just make a little bit more room for this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put my fucking hour-long video essay after a 30-minute meme video from, General Sam or whatever, because I genuinely think a lot of people would enjoy that and they would learn something, and I think it would be better for the community. But instead, it's like, it's going to put in some, like, here's the top 10 NVIDIA fucking clips from Fortnite or whatever is the recommended video, So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get your point, and I totally get it. And I'm literally being mentally pushed into that, like, as we speak. You know what I mean? Like, literally earlier today, I was like, I got to do more highlight content. You know what I mean? And so it's, yeah. But yeah.
Oh, one thing I want to say quickly is you asked me about the level 46 daily quest.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I hit that right after the stream, and everything went way the fuck up. Way the fuck up. Did you hit that?
No, I'm level 45. I'm gonna hit it soon. But, like, you see what I'm saying, where it's like, I'm not saying it shouldn't go up as you go, but 45 to 46 is like an 8x. Like, let's stair step it out a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Or make 42 the requirement. That makes more sense, because at 42 you have max traders. So now, give me something more to do at that moment. But, like, it's crazy. At 46, it just goes boom.
Yep.
Boom.
Rip the fucking stream, dude. This is
rip the stream.
That's another thing. Lose 60 viewers because of fucking Twitch's whatever,
Yeah.
Like, ugh,
I totally get that. That's super frustrating. I mean, we have more to talk about, but I mean, we've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and the internet's taking a poo poo, so we can go ahead and. Your voice has been coming through fine, but the call over the Video Ninja thing has been a little laggy. There's just these past 5 minutes, so.
Okay.
But yeah, so we can go. I mean, dude. I don't know. This was a good one. I feel like for you and me, there was a lot to air out. I don't know. Just get rid of the spawns.
I always feel bad, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't just fly and forget frustrations.
Yeah, exactly.
I would just feel too fake. So
yeah, 100%. But thank you guys for hanging with us live. Thank you for the feedback and the memes and the sometimes, the topics to talk about as we meme on chat. But yeah, this will be live early next week on all of the platforms. Yeah, I felt like there was something else I was going to say, but I totally forgot what it was. So thank you for being here. Thanks for being a part of the podcast community. The comments and stuff were always super chill, man. Like, we've been getting the views have been going up on the YouTube. People are digging it. I still get people like every single day coming in saying that they vibe with the podcast. So as much as sometimes I worry that, like, oh, this one's gonna be a bad one because we complained a lot, the response is normally like super good. So I'm like, the podcast fam is like, they're dope. So thank you guys for being here, and we will definitely see y'all in the next one.
Peace.